Hey, what's up, guys? It's Josh Engel, also known as Anti-Pro, coming at you.
And this is Mike Bisson, a.k.a. Mohawk Mike.
And you are watching a very special edition of BossFight TV's The Reload.
Basically, we wanted to take this week because it's the end of the year. All the major tournaments and events have basically wrapped up. So we wanted to take this week and shed a little more light on BossFight TV and all of our current projects and things to come.
Definitely. And, you know, just like Mike said, there really isn't a lot going on. So we wanted to give you guys a little treat. So what we're going to start... Now, mind you, this is a laid-back episode. I wanted to say this, too, because we're not even wearing the suits.
No jackets.
But the first thing we want to talk about is kind of how Boss Fight got started. We're not going to get too crazy into detail, but we decided, like, hey, guys might want to know where this thing came from. Where'd this thing come from? So first thing is we run a local site called CincyFrag.com, and that site is actually Boss Fight on a smaller scale. We cover tournaments locally here in the Cincinnati, Northern Kentucky, Indiana, tri-state area. We go over tournaments, events, we report on them, we cover them, all sorts of crazy stuff like that. And Mike's also on the staff as well. And Mike's our big LAN party guy. We actually do a lot of LAN parties.
I have basically taken the role in Cincinnati of trying to resurrect like the old school PC LAN parties because there's still a lot of events that go on. But I kind of like came in a couple years ago, started doing LAN parties. I actually met Josh in, was that 2009?
I think it
was, and joined the Cincy Frag staff, and basically became the ambassador.
He's like my go-to guy.
PC gaming and events and stuff like that, and basically that's how I joined the site. And we were just doing everything on a local scale, local events, local tournaments. Cincy Frag was a cool place to meet local gamers and just kind of like reconnect all of the gaming community together.
Right. When Mike found me, I was a poor wee little console lad.
Jeez.
Oh, those were the days. Now, I'm not dogging on you console players because I still very much am a console player. But at the same time, Mike showed me the light of the PC. So
that's very lovely.
I know.
I like that. We should go caroling later.
Oh, man. See, this is why I play video games and I'm not a singer. Because... that was horrible. Everyone's like,
we'll work it out later.
Anyway. So we wanted to take Cincy Frag to like a more global scale. And so we're all good ideas. Where do all good ideas come from? First off, some people might say, while you're trying to go to sleep. Some people say the shower. I say nay. I say 4 a.m. at IHOP.
4 a.m. International House of Pancakes.
Like a boss. So here we are. We're sitting here, big group. We all go. We mentioned last episode. There's an arcade here locally, Arcade Legacy. It was after I believe one of our board game nights there, and we were sitting at IHOP just going over random stuff, just whatever came to mind. And a lot of us ended up coming to the conclusion, like, hey, we should start this Boss Fight website. And I also got to give my buddy the Rickster, which is actually the camera guy. Hey, Ricky.
Hi, Ricky.
Ricky, actually, honestly, a lot of like the core kind of ideas, and he was like the big person who pushed us, to kind of take it to the next level and do Boss Fight. So props to him, props to everyone who was there, talking with us and giving us ideas and brainstorming. So, the thing about Boss Fight is that was like in the summer, like early summer. And we pretty much worked on Boss Fight for months and months. We didn't just want to launch it. We wanted to make sure that when we went live, it was presentable and it was a good product.
We had actually sat down and after that initial meeting had sat down and worked out a plan with a timeline of where we wanted things to go and how we wanted to get things started before just, making just a random website and just kind of starting and doing things, without hitting the ground first and really knowing what we're doing, which we can both kind of talk and experience about like the first couple episodes of the Reload we shot.
Oh my God.
We're kind of test pilots and then it works out so
great.
I
don't think those are ever going to see the light of day.
Maybe we could be coerced.
There might be, like, maybe in some bloopers.
Yeah,
maybe we'll release some bloopers.
Reel. Yeah.
I don't know how many people we have following us on Twitter.
I don't know.
If we hit
500?
500?
500?
500 followers? If we hit 500 followers, do we want to put a time frame on this? 500 followers by February?
February is good.
February 10th, my birthday.
Oh,
That'll be a birthday present.
I'm
If
making
we
a
get
note.
make a note. If we get 500 followers by February 10th, we will release a blooper reel of our first 2 episodes, along with a special little tidbit that I filmed when we went to when we were done filming the first successful episode. We went to a donut shop at like 5 in the morning.
Oh, that was good.
And I filmed like a thing, and we were all like, "Yeah, we finally did it." And it was a good time. So February 10th, 500 followers, we will do that blooper reel. So after those first 2 episodes, we were kind of bummed out that it didn't work. And we decided to kind of like, step back and, rethink everything. And the next episode after that, we were successful. We started bringing on more people to help us write the articles and things of that nature. And here we are, I think we're doing pretty good.
I think so.
We do have a lot of room for improvement. I agree. I'm sure everyone out there also agrees. But we're working on it. And I think we're gonna do pretty well.
I think it's an interesting note. That's a good segue into the actual the next portion that we want to talk about is the future of not only the Reload but all of BossFight TV.
Indeed.
In that one aspect that I think that we haven't really put a lot of emphasis on before, but in essence that the website BossFight, we have a lot of text articles on there where we talk about like event recaps and like things happening in the esports scene. So in the future going forward, you don't just have to watch episodes of the Reload to know kind of what's going on, like the recap. We also have the main website where we are always updating with articles, editorials, and different like interviews and things like that. So that's something to keep an eye out on.
Yeah, and if you're at work, that's the greatest part about it. If you're at work and you want to sit down and read a recap that's only a couple paragraphs long or whatever, depending on the tournament, if it's a big tournament, like if we're talking about WCG or something like that, article that we put out was pretty large.
It was a big article.
In general, if we're just doing some tournament recaps or whatever, like we typically tell our writers, hey, keep it short and to the point, because if they want the whole, story and, explanation or whatever, they're probably just going to watch the show. So we like to keep it short and to the point. So definitely keep an eye out on there. We actually have an interview coming out pretty soon that Erica, also known as Alpha Baby, she actually interviewed Vile Illusion on Team Vile, so watch for that. That's going to be coming out pretty soon. So going a little bit further into the future, obviously you're watching The Reload. This is the first show we actually wanted to focus on, but there are a lot of other ideas. And it's funny because after we started our first show, when we put our first episode out, I got so many people that would like tweet us or come up and talk to me and be like, hey, you should do this show or you do something like this. And it's funny because we have a lot of, these ideas in the works already. So obviously, as an esports news source, we want to do a lot of interviews. So, and these are all live shows, by the way. We have this show here, but we are going to have some of those Skype type shows where we have live interviews with players. Mike wants to do like a general esports type show.
We do it like more of like a general live show where we kind of, we want to talk about like the things currently going on in esports, but at the same time, like whoever we're doing the interview with, we want people to be able to call in, and if there's a subject that we're not talking about or maybe an issue that, people aren't aware of, people can bring it to light, and just a general place for people to talk about esports. Because that's, in essence, that's what we were doing at IHOP, and that's what I love doing. Me and Josh went out to dinner earlier. We had some pizza, and we... was that like 2-3 hours?
It was a long time.
Just sitting and BSing about esports. So that's kind of one of the things that we're working, but more specifically, like maybe like game specific shows. So like maybe, a StarCraft show where we do nothing but StarCraft players and talk about like strategies and things like that are on the horizon. Right.
And it's, it's as soon as we start getting more staff in each game, we're going to start... letting those people kind of like go free and start working on their own shows. So there's no time frame on what show is going to start, but next year expect some specific shows for some specific games, if I can talk. So those are kind of the live shows. Oh, almost forgot. This is also Ricky's idea.
This is a really good one.
And I think it's awesome. And we're going to go ahead and get this out there now because this is actually going to probably start pretty soon. We don't have a name for it yet, but we know it as the Random Stream Commentary Show. And we are going to basically go on Team Liquid, not on the featured streams. We're going to look for the streams that not a lot of people are watching. Like, 5, 6 viewers, maybe not even necessarily from Team Liquid. But we're just going to look for people that are streaming. And we are going to just do some random commentary on them. It's going to be kind of like humor based, we might poke some fun at them and everything, and we'll try to contact the people that we're doing afterwards, like, hey, we caught your stream, you should come check it out. But in the further development of that series, we actually are going to try to bring some pros in to do it with us. So if any pros out there in control, if you want to jump on the I don't know what we should call it, like stream assassins.
Stream assassins?
I don't know. So if you have a good idea, please let us know. I don't know what we're going to call it, but Random Stream Commentary Show. That's really lame. So come up with another one. If you don't come up with another one, that's what it's going to be called. Not really. No, not good. Now, the show, I don't know if I want to call it a show. It's more of like a series that I'm most excited about. Now, I will give credit where credit is due. I was watching Live on 3 the other day, and DJ Wheat had a fantastic point. A caller called in and was like, hey, what can we do to bring in more viewers to watch esports events? And one of his things, his biggest gripes about the esports community is there's no like bottom tier entry level education for people who have never seen any of these games played before. Sure, you have people like Day9 that do an amazing job at teaching people who kind of already play the game. They teach them how to become a better player at the game, but there's nothing for those people who, just want to sit and watch. For instance, if you're a football fan and you watch football, you don't necessarily play football, and you don't necessarily want to know the inside and out of who's running what play and all that stuff. So this is like starting at an elementary level, for fighting games, for instance, like the first episode is literally going to show you the layout, for each game. So for like Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom, we'll do the health bars, the 3 players and the levels on the bottom and X Factor. And then from there, each episode after that, it's going to kind of take, one specific thing and kind of work on it. So I think it's a great idea from DJ Wheat, and we decided to take it and run with it. So we're going to start this series. We also don't have a name for that yet, but it's going to be something like Esports 101 or Esports Academy, something like that. So be on the lookout, and thank you, Mr. DJ Wheat, for that idea, and a big shout out because that was a fantastic idea, and that's how we want to help out the esports community.
And then kind of transitioning into our other show that'll be a little more well-produced, going from the aspect of, just basic esports in general, we have a new idea for a show called, the working title right now is It Competitive? Where every so often we'll get a group of our players on and we'll just play a random game that maybe, could be a potential esports title, could not. And we're not talking like the Counter-Strike Go beta. Like we're talking games like, some online billiards game or
Asphalt 6.
Asphalt 6. That is competitive. You can be the world champion for Asphalt 6. But anyway, like more just like random, if there are any mods, are there any, new games or anything coming out that, maybe it's just released by a developer really quick, then we're going to check that out and play it in a competitive sense and ask the question.
Competitive Skyrim.
Is it?
I don't think that's going to work.
I don't think there's multiplayer yet. Is there multiplayer? No, I don't know. I know Grand Theft Auto 3 has multiplayer.
That's the joke. Oh man, I think that's a great idea, and that actually came. I don't know how long you've had that idea, but we just got that at dinner tonight.
I actually think that was one of Ricky's again.
Was it?
I think that was one of Ricky's ideas.
He's shaking his head no. He's shaking his head no.
Okay,
but seriously,
I'll take it then.
We all have notebooks. Full of ideas. Yeah, Mike always has his notebook out there.
I have my notebook from every tournament that I ever watch. I take notes.
Yes, we go through a lot of paper or notepad on the computer Notice, notice Mike always has the pieces of paper.
I'm the analog guy.
Yeah, he's the analog guy because he's the old school dude, and like I always have like my computer. So that's how that works. So is it competitive? It's coming, 2012. Watch out. Now, here is something that I have been really excited to start, and it's funny because the reason we kind of haven't jumped into it yet is because it's a huge undertaking.
It's one of those things that we've talked about since day one, but it's a huge undertaking.
And it's one of those things that Boss Fight in general was a huge undertaking. And now that we got Boss Fight kind of started and off the ground, I think that this is the next step that we really want to work on. And that is an all-encompassing esports wiki. And, you know, we're not talking, you know, just StarCraft like Liquipedia. Like, I do have to say that site has been a savior to what we do, especially in the StarCraft world. Especially when some of the sites don't update that fast.
Yeah.
And it's funny to see Liquipedia updated like way faster than some of the tournament's own sites. And it is just such a wealth of information on players and teams. But we are going to not just do StarCraft, we are going to do everything.
Everything.
Like,
and not just what's happening right now, but everything in the past. Because a lot of people don't know how rich the esports history really is.
Right.
I mean, you have old leagues and you have, I don't want to say like old players, but we've in essence already had, you know, a prolific esports run. You know,
more than 10 years. Like,
yeah.
It's been around for a long time. And the thing is, we are going to be looking to you guys, obviously, because that's what a wiki's for. We are going to try our best to put a foundation down there. We're going to contact teams and players, and we're going to see if they want to actually author their own pages to start out with. Because who better to write a page about Team Evil Geniuses than someone at Team Evil Geniuses, right? So be on the lookout for that. That is coming. I would say, I don't want to put a time frame on it, but it's going to launch pretty soon. Because the thing is, all we have to do is get that base out there, and, you know, we will go to the community, you guys, and see if, you know, we can get something rolling here. So be on the lookout. Esportswiki.
Esportswiki.com.
That might be the domain.
Could be. Don't know.
But maybe. Actually, it might be.
No wink winks.
A lot. So we have two more little things to talk about. The second to last thing is
another idea that we've had since day one.
Day one.
But we weren't, as far as our timeline goes, we weren't set to really launch it yet.
Right.
But there have been some other people in the community that have done it a little bit faster or have announced it before we did. And that is an actual all-encompassing esports award show, ceremony, title, but basically an award, a set of awards that would encompass all of esports. So instead of just doing like a best player of whatever game, it could be everything. But from my knowledge, it's already been someone else has jumped on and
right. Well, the thing is, it's not a new idea at all. There was a site. How long ago was it?
They last ran in 2009, I believe.
Yeah, and it was 2009. The GSL had their awards. And I think this is where kind of some of these communities have come together, and they're like, hey, I want to start our own esports award show. And so Slasher and DJ Wheat, I think Slasher's the main person heading it up. And this was on Live on 3. And so he's going to start doing this show in esports awards. So like Mike said, we didn't get a good chance to start on it. And next year we're going to hit the ground running. And it'll be a little bit of people's choice. It'll be a little bit of our choice. And there'll be some voting for people. And, you know, we really haven't worked out the details. Like I said, there are a lot of what ifs on our side, and we're still discussing it.
Well, and I think the other good aspect is that, you know, there isn't just one single esports awards. You know, for instance, for just video games, like you have like Game of the Year and stuff like that. How many different outlets are there for that?
Right.
So it's not like we're jumping on the bandwagon or we're trying to take anybody's thunder. all these different outlets can have their own separate awards, and we're really looking forward to do that. We were looking forward to doing that in 2011, but as far as our timeline, we didn't feel it was appropriate. So we want to get all of our content. We want to get everything perfect for you guys before we try and take on too much and put out crappy content, which nobody really wants.
You mean like episode 1?
Like episode like 0.5.
Yeah.
I don't even know if we
episode,
really call that
technically,
a whole episode.
I don't even know. Anyways.
Yeah. Anyway.
Another thing before the very last thing is we are going to start rolling out some merchandise coming pretty soon, and there's some interesting things that we're going to be doing. Originally, we were hoping to kind of like go on Kickstarter, and we were going to offer different levels of support, but we're going to do that on our own. So we're going to have things all the way from T-shirts, the little wristbands, like the Live Strong type bracelets that are going to say like I support esports on them. Those would be pretty cool. And like stuff like that, like the wristband, like we're going to like literally if you like donate $5, we're going to send you a wristband basically. And there's going to be some cool T-shirts. We'll probably start off with one design, maybe move into some other ones. And there was some magnets we were talking about, and there's just all sorts of random stuff that we're gonna end up offering to you guys, either to buy or for your support. And it's gonna start out as a support type thing, and then we'll move into selling them later. So be on the lookout for those because I'm excited to get a BossFight T-shirt. I mean, there's nothing like cooler than walking around with a T-shirt from a website that you're involved with, right? So, BossFight TV. Watch out for the merch.
Check out the merch.
Check out the merch.
Oh, yeah, BossFight.tv.
BossFightTV.
That's fine.
The final thing that we really kind of want to sit down and talk about is the set, improving the set. I think every time, actually, I know that every time that you guys have seen an episode, something has changed. So the first episode, we had the green screen, and we got rid of that.
Got rid of that fast
because a lot of people didn't like that. I actually didn't like it either. And the audio was horrible, right? So then the second episode, we borrowed one of our friends' shotgun mics, and the audio was better. And the third episode, we got our awesome mixer from Jason at iHeart Esports. Check out iHeartEsports.com. But and then we had the XLR mics. And we were holding them. In this episode, we have mic stands.
Mic stands.
So we are working on it. We still have to do the backdrop with the fencing. So that's going to look pretty cool. And I'm hoping that we can get that up pretty soon. It's a lot harder to mount fence
to a
inside
of an
apartment.
Yeah. Than previously.
The studio.
And for all of those wondering, this is a real brick wall.
It is.
This is real.
This is not fake. It's a real brick wall. And I don't think we necessarily want to tap into that wall. Like we're working on it. If anyone out there has some clever ideas on how to put a fence behind us, because we come up with so many random ideas. So,
or if you wouldn't mind staging or hosting a esports desk inside of your random warehouse that you don't use anymore. That'd be cool.
We're in the Dayton, Cincinnati, Columbus, anywhere around there. If you have a random warehouse that we can put this in there,
we'd be your friend.
I was gonna be like, well, I was like, it's not a good idea to put my phone number out there. Tweet us at BossFight, and I'll DM you my phone number, and we'll talk about it.
If we get 5,000 likes, Josh will give out his phone number.
I will. If we get 5,000 likes, I'll give you out my... Oh, Jesus. No one wants my damn cell phone number, Mike. Seriously. I hear there's a warehouse in Grove City, Ohio.
Hint, hint, wink, wink.
But I think that kind of wraps up everything we really wanted to cover. You know, BossFight has really come a long way from that first trailer that we put out there. And I'm really liking where we're going.
And it's just, it's as long as DJ Wheat has been active in the community, he's always said, if you have an idea, what is that one piece of advice that you would give to someone, looking to get into esports, whether it be shoutcasting, being a player, whatever it is. He says, just get out there and do it. If you have an idea, get out there and do it. Because you know what? Nothing's going to happen if you're just going to sit there on your couch and say, oh, well, that's a good idea.
Right.
So that's, from that initial sit down at IHOP, having a conversation over some pancakes to where we are now, I couldn't be happier.
We got up.
And we got up and we're doing it.
We're doing it right now. You're watching it. And, with every project, it starts out slow, and we are working towards great awesomeness.
Great awesomeness.
Great awesomeness. So like we were saying in the beginning, watch next year. We're going to have a lot of awesome shows and a lot of awesome content, a lot of awesome merchandise, and a lot of great awesomeness in general. Great awesomeness in general. So, signing off for this special episode of The Reload by BossFight TV. I am Josh Engel, also known as Anti-Pro.
And I'm Mike Bisson, a.k.a. Mohawk Mike. Thanking you for supporting esports in whatever capacity you do. Have a great New Year's Eve, and thank you for considering.